Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta. And before we start tonight's story time, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. Don't worry, it's not going to take too long. You don't need to skip this part. Please, don't skip this part. Please don't skip this part. I've got a couple conventions that are confirmed this year, and I just wanted to tell you guys what they are. So, the first one coming up is January 26th through the 28th in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm going to be at Comic-Con. For those of you guys that are into anime, as well as into some YouTube and some horror stuff, definitely check out the con. I've been going for a couple of years. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It'll be my first time going to Astronomicon, and that one's February 9th through the 11th. That one's in Sterling Heights, Michigan. So I'm going way up to Michigan. This will be my first time ever being in Michigan, especially in February. Being a guy that comes from Texas, I'm expecting to die and freeze to death within the harsh winter cold. Finally, the last one that's confirmed is May 24th through the 27th. That's going to be Phoenix Comic-Con. I'm really glad I get to go back to this. It's been a couple of years since I got a chance to go to Phoenix Comic-Con, and it's one of the largest and coolest conventions I've ever been to. That's in Phoenix, Arizona. If you guys are in Phoenix, Arizona, if you guys are in Sterling Heights, Michigan, or if you guys are in Birmingham, Alabama, or if you guys are just nearby and want to swing by to come say hi to me, I would really love to see all of you. I have story times, I have game shows, as well as I have a few different panels talking about YouTube and talking about what it's like to write horror scripts or how to be able to get yourself published in the horror community. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And here's tonight's CreepyPasta story time. The night I posted the last update, I went to bed aching with a fever. I've been running it basically ever since. I feel absolutely awful. Everything aches. I got a couple of canker sores too. Did not stop me from doing things, but it made it a little bit more difficult. Don't try to scare me with radiation poisoning, by the way. I have a Geiger counter coming. Till then, the last thing I need is freaking out about that. The previous owner got in touch with me. First off, she was very nice, answered all of my questions. She and her husband grew up in the area. They're the age my parents would be, maybe older. And I guess the family that built this place was kind of notorious for being weird. They stayed at home basically constantly. No one seemed to work outside of the house, and they didn't talk much except amongst themselves. Someone spread a rumor once that the girls, the last kids who lived there, had made some comments about being expected to be home all the time. They were in charge of it, and they weren't allowed to leave for too long in case something happened. We talked a little more, and there's basically the only useful information that I got, aside from her apologizing for my mother's death and stuff. But turns out she had met them a few times in the course of the sale, and really liked them. I thanked her, said that I was just happy to be back in my house. She said that she was sure my dad would be very happy for me. I said that I was sure he would be too. My dad's been on my mind a lot lately. Probably with good reason. He lied to me. While I was super sick, I wasn't able to do much except lie in bed and suffer. But I had a lot of time to think, and maybe you guys have already put this together, but I guess I'm stupid, and it took me longer. Mostly I thought about the Christmas lights. Remember that piece I found last time I went down? Well, as soon as I could physically drag myself up to the attic, I found the string I'd used and checked the end of it. It was frayed, like it had been broken at some point. I don't know how it still worked, and frankly, it doesn't really matter. I could say with almost 100% certainty that they matched. I didn't bring the piece up with me, but you can bet I'll do it next time. And if it's true, that means that those lights have been down there before, which means I'm not the first person in there. And the only person I can think of that would have been, in my family anyway, is my dad. So I mentioned before that my dad had gotten pissed the day he caught me and my brother fucking around with the entrance. I can't remember what we were doing exactly, but it involved crawling around in the corners looking for stuff, probably change we thought we might find or something. I found it first, and I got my brother to try and help me to open it, but it was glued shut. We were in the process of trying to use a ruler that we found to pry it apart when Dad caught us. He didn't just scream at us, I remember that now. He actually dragged our asses downstairs, threatened to ban us from the upstairs if we ever did that again. This was after he lost his job, and he had started acting so much more hostile than he had before. It was a complete overreaction that I chalked up to him being stressed about work. But what if it wasn't? What if he knew there was something down there and didn't want us to find it? It makes sense. He used those lights to go exploring down there, and I found that flashlight so easily. Got something attack him while he was down there. What happened that scared him so bad he yelled at us like that? What if that's why he lost his job? Like, it sounds ridiculous, but if he was so stressed about the tunnel that he stopped working well and he lost his job. What sucks is that I have no way to verify any of it. It's not like I can just ask him. Later that same night that he caught us, I noticed my hands were sticky. At the time, I didn't connect the two things, but now I'm almost positive that they were connected. The glue was fresh around the door. He had to have resealed it. And he wouldn't have had to do that unless he opened it himself in the first place. What the fuck was going on? How much did he know? I felt well enough this morning to go back down for a bit, and I've been feeling really hot, so it actually felt pretty nice down there. The pressure change was hell on my ears, but once you get down inside, it's not that bad. And yes, I went alone. And if there's anything down there that could hurt me, I honestly don't want my friend to be involved. It's not his fault my house is completely fucked. I didn't go far enough to find the light segment. I was too exhausted, but I got to the first room and just sort of sat in there and listened. And guys, I cannot even stress how cold it is down there. The stone or the concrete or whatever that place is made out of, it's like sitting on ice. There's also a weird feeling to the place that's harder to explain. It's like, you know when you're in a tall building and you're aware when you're high up? It's like that. There's all this space under me. God willing, I can go down there further soon and finally see where it leads to. It's so quiet down there. Just sitting in there makes me think of another memory. Like I said before, Dad lost his job and started to change. Got much more angry with us, much more hostile toward Mom, etc. If he knew what was under our house, he probably hated himself for moving us there and endangering us. Then Mom got sick. And he was so totally different. Always hovering around her, making sure she was okay. Sometimes it felt a little different than before, though. Like he knew what was happening to her and felt guilty. I don't know. One day, when the chemo was getting stronger and she was feeling really bad, I got a call from him at school, which is weird because he wasn't the type to do that. I asked him what was up. He said, "Well, I just need to know what it is your mother is asking for." And that's exactly how he said it too. Your mother. The guy was absolutely out of it from worrying and staying up late every night. I said, "Sure, okay. What did he need?" And he asked me, "She keeps talking about Scooter. How she wishes Scooter was around." What is she talking about? That just about made my heart stop. See, Scooter is the nickname that she gave me when I was really little because I didn't learn to crawl right. I'd just scoot around on my butt everywhere. He knew that. That's when I really started to think that something was wrong. And maybe he was getting sick too. I mean, how could he forget something like that? My plan for the next trip down is this. I'll bring the Geiger counter, which is coming today. I'll also bring a pen and paper so I can sketch out the room, and a level, see if anything is sloped. And I'll bring a thermometer, some food, water. I'm gonna figure this thing out. Okay, I'm not gonna sit around like my dad did, and I'm not gonna pretend like it doesn't exist. Maybe that original family knew it too. Maybe they felt like they had to protect everyone from getting hurt. Maybe that's why they all died out. Maybe they got tired of having to sit around in a fucked up house, or maybe the stress killed them. I don't know. I feel so fucking sick, okay? Inside of my mouth is starting to peel. I'm really starting to regret buying this house. Hey there, everyone who's listening on YouTube, or those of you who are listening on the podcast. It's me, MrCreepyPasta. And before you head out for the night, I just wanted to let you know about a couple of things. Without you, the show doesn't take place. So, if you guys would like to support the show, or if you guys would like to get your hands on a couple of cool little things whenever new things come out, check out patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. And any support that you guys show, I really appreciate it. For everyone who's already donated to the Patreon, I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And thank you so much for that. If you guys are looking for more CreepyPasta Storytime, there's a new video that's uploaded to this channel or uploaded to the podcast every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday now. You can be able to get more from me at facebook.com/MrCreepyPasta or on Twitter at MrCreepyPasta and then the number 0. Thanks so much for listening, kids, and for your support. And sweet dreams.